Hey everybody, welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to talk more specifically about nouns, and we are really going to focus on plural and possessive nouns. And we're going to start with plural nouns. And I know that making nouns plural seems like a very simple concept, but this is the English language, right? So there's all these weird spelling rules and weird spellings and phonics works until it doesn't and all of that. We know that, right? We had to learn English and how to write and spell it and read it in elementary school, so we understand that every rule has an exception, and there are lots of exceptions, right? So it's not always just adding s. So you need to be familiar with this. I will say, when in doubt, you can always look it up. That is the beauty of living in the digital world, is your software will probably alert you or you can look it up. But we do need to start to sort of understand some of the rules. Okay, first of all, just a basic reminder: remember that nouns are words that name a person, place, thing, or idea, is what they used to say when I was in school. Now, sometimes they might say person, place, thing, quality, or concept. Okay. And there are four basic categories of nouns. There are concrete nouns. These are specific objects you can experience with your five senses. You see that here. If you can see it with your senses, if you can touch it, if you can hear it, if you can taste it. Okay, so some concrete nouns are things like table, ball, chair, music, food, perfume. Those are concrete nouns. Then we have abstract nouns. These are non-specific, intangible qualities and concepts you cannot express with your senses. They are things like honesty, kindness, cruelty, etc. Okay, so abstract nouns are things like, let's type that out so you can have these if you need it: honesty, cruelty, that type of thing. Okay, abstract nouns, things you understand, you know what they are, but you can't put your hands on them. Okay, you can't see them with your eyes, right? You can hear the result of them, perhaps, maybe in the words that are coming out of people's mouth, but you cannot hear the quality itself. Okay, there are common nouns, right? Those name a general class of people, places, things, qualities, or concepts, right? So like bell, man, happiness. This is mall. That's any shopping mall. That's anybody's happiness. That's not the Liberty Bell. That's just a bell. Okay. That's not a specific man. It's just a man. Okay. Proper nouns, remember these from way back in grammar. They have to be capitalized. They name a specific person, place, or thing, and they have a capital letter. Okay. So not just a man, we have George Washington. Okay. Not just holiday, we have Christmas. Okay, things like Underground Railroad, we remember what that is from history. That is a specific thing. Okay, it is named something, it is the name of something. You capitalize those letters. Okay, and nouns can be singular or plural, right? Some plurals follow general rules we've already talked about, like bells, cars, shoes. You just put an S. Other require their own spelling, like children or cacti. Okay, so here's some basic rules, and look at this list, because that's just where we are with the English language. Okay, but we're just going to kind of move through them. There's more information in your module, and again, you can always get help with this from software or from just a good old Google search. Okay, rule number one. This is the general rule right here. Just add an S. It's great when that works. Okay, but now we move to rule number two. For nouns ending in S, Z, CH, X, or SH, you have to add an ES. Okay? You cannot just put an S after these letters or these chunks, right? You have to put an ES. Okay? If a noun ends in a vowel followed by a Y, just add S. Okay? Attorney becomes attorneys. Look at this. Essay becomes essays because you have a vowel, right? You have a vowel, and then it's followed by Y. Same thing with essay. You have a vowel, A, and it's followed by Y, so that you just put an S at the end. But if a noun ends in a consonant followed by Y, change the Y to an I and add ES. Baby becomes babies, company becomes companies, right? You recognize this when you see them. You just don't understand that there's a specific rule. But you see here, you have a consonant You have a B before your Y. And here you have an N before your Y. So you have a consonant followed by a Y. So you change the Y to an I and add ES. Okay? For rule number 5, for nouns ending in F or FE, change the F or FE to V and add ES. So what that means is leaf becomes leaves, life becomes lives, right? You've seen these words written. Again, you know this. You recognize these spellings. You would, if somebody did this, you would know that's not right, right? You might not could tell me that the rule was that you're supposed to change that F to a V and add ES, but you would know that that is an incorrect spelling. That is how a child, maybe just learning, would spell leaves, right? Because they don't know all the crazy things we do in the English language. Okay. Now, for nouns that end in a consonant plus O, you will sometimes add an ES. That's another rule that you need to double check, because sometimes even the rules are not always true, right? Like canoe does become, oh no, I'm sorry, that ends with E. I'm trying to think of one, but you know what I'm saying. You'll have a noun that ends in a consonant followed by an O. Sometimes you're going to add ES, but you need to double check because not every time, okay? Number 7, irregular plurals. Now, these are words you just have to learn, okay? Because there is nothing you add, you change the word. You think of words like mice. What is mice the plural of? It is the plural of mouse. What is feet the plural of? It is the plural of foot, right? Oxen is the plural of ox. Women is the plural of woman, okay? So you're not adding S at all. You're completely changing the word. You're making child, children. Those I can't give you a rule for, except you have to learn them. You have to learn them. You have to know them. You've learned it hearing people speak and reading all of your life. Just if you have any questions, look it up, because sometimes we're not entirely sure, especially with the words we're maybe less familiar with. Okay. Now, rule 8, compound nouns. These can get complicated. They're made up of 2 or more words linked together, and there are different rules depending on the type of compound noun. You have solid words, right? Bookcase, desktop, handbook. To those, you just make the last part plural. In whatever rule or way you would follow with these, we just all have to end in S. You don't worry about book. It's not books case or desks top or books cases. It's just bookcases, because you're not talking about a book or a case, right? We know what a bookcase is. It's that piece of furniture where we put our books, right? A desktop is not 2 separate things. It's one word. It's the top of your desk, and it just gets an S, okay? Hyphenated or separated words, they are a little bit more complicated. You have to make the most descriptive part plural. Say you had the word board, you had this Board of Education, but there's more than one. You have, say, maybe you have Board of Education for Carthage, you have Board of Education for Beckville, you have Board of Education for Gary, and they're all coming together. So what are they? Are they the Board of Educations? No, because education is sort of one thing, right? That what they are various of is boards. So boards of education, that is the most descriptive part. Also, same thing with mother-in-law. You've got my mother-in-law, your mother-in-law, his mother-in-law, her mother-in-law, okay? Do we put in-laws at the end, mother-in-laws? No, it's mothers. Mothers-in-law, because that is the main descriptive part of that word, okay? Those can be complicated. You might want to look those up if you're really confused or it just doesn't sound right, okay? Rule number 9, this one is really complicated because they're foreign nouns. And here's the thing. English has borrowed so much language from so many other cultures and countries and languages that we don't even know it often, that word, that we have a word in the middle of our sentence that we speak just like it's an English word that came from somewhere else, that came from another language. So often you may have to look these up because they can get really different, but here are the general rules. Nouns ending in us, us, change to I. Cactus becomes cacti. Syllabus, like you deal with in college, turns to syllabi. It's not syllabuses, it's syllabi, okay? Nouns ending in A, you add an E. So vertebra becomes vertebrae, antenna becomes antennae, okay? You change the spelling a little bit. Nouns ending in um, drop it and add an A. Bacterium becomes bacteria. Nouns ending in on change to an A. So criterion becomes criteria. Okay. Like if there's only one rule, there is one criterion for writing this paper. But if I have multiple rules, then there are criteria. Okay. Nouns ending in is change to es. And sometimes we have a hard time remembering how to pronounce these differently because they get a little tongue-tied, especially in our East Texan. Okay. Analysis becomes analyses. Crisis becomes crises. Okay. Those are words. You may have to look that up sometimes. If you're just looking and go, I don't know how to make this, just Google it, or probably your software will alert you because, again, we don't even know that crisis, I couldn't tell you what language it comes from, but apparently it's something we borrowed from somewhere. Okay. Rule number 10, which we're going to move more into in the next part of this lecture. This. We see it on Christmas cards every year. Don't use an apostrophe to make something plural. Okay. I have one of those complicated last names. My name ends in es, not just s, es. So we are pretty much the Morales ESESs or whatever. I mean, but it's not. It is not this. It is not Merry Christmas from the Moraleses. That is not who we are, right? Don't do that. I know we see it, but that is not ever. That means that we own something. That means it needs the Morales' Christmas. Yes, we are having our Christmas. But Merry Christmas from the Morales' no. Usually what I would do is what it tried to say there because our name looks real weird, right? If you make it plural, I say Merry Christmas from the Morales family because that helps, right? Actually, I say Merry Christmas from the Morales and Hanks family if it's all of us because my children's last name is Hanks. Okay? So there are different ways to do it, but this is never the way to do it. Don't do that, okay? Because that makes it possessive, which we're going to talk about next. Let's look at possessive nouns. And again, there are specific rules related to spelling for those as well. Wouldn't it be easier if English would just pick something and stick with it? It's too late now. We're way into it at this point, okay? Rule 1 is the easiest, just like rule 1 of plural nouns. To form a possessive of a singular noun that does not end in s, just add an apostrophe s. That's all you need is this right here, apostrophe s, okay? Rule 2 is for singular nouns that end in s. If a singular noun ends in s, listen here, and only has one syllable, add an apostrophe s. Boss just becomes bosses, just like a word that doesn't end in s. If a singular noun ends in s and is pronounced with more than one syllable, this is where you're maybe going to need help from your software or the Google. You have to see if the possessive form is pronounced with the extra sound, okay? If so, add apostrophe s. You do say waitresses. If no, just add an apostrophe. Dickens. That's all you say. That's really all you would say with Morales. You would really just do this because you don't say Merry Christmas from the Moraleses, okay? Or you would, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one I chose. You really wouldn't say the Moraleses' Christmas, okay? So you could just do that, right? And that looks much cleaner. It makes more sense, and it's more like what you would say. So that is just a sort of a really complicated one, okay, that you're going to have to play with and probably do some research on if you have a word that is stumping you, okay? Like I say here, when in doubt, look it up. Okay, rule number 3 is for plural nouns ending in s. Just add an apostrophe to form the possessive. Girls, you just put an apostrophe after the s that is already there, okay? Instead of it meaning more than one girl, it means it's something that belongs to more than one girl, okay? Rule number 4 is for plural nouns not ending in s. If the plural noun is one that changed form completely and does not end in s, add an apostrophe s, right? Like children. Children is plural. If it's only one, it's child. Children is plural. So you just add an apostrophe S, okay? Rule number 5, compound nouns. We talked about this with the making it plural. Make the nouns possessive by adding the correct ending from the first 4 rules to the final word of the compound. Attorney General, see, that's 2 separate words, but it's one thing, right? An Attorney General is a position that's held in our country. Attorney Generals, it's not this. You don't go Attorneys Generals. No, just Attorney Generals. Same thing with bookcases. All you do is you follow that rule to add that apostrophe after that S, okay? It's not books cases. That's way too much happening, okay? Just bookcases. Okay, now this is a little more complicated. Joint ownership. When you have a noun that is owned by 2 people jointly, write only the last name as a possessive. Okay, my husband's name is, he pronounces it Manuel, and Leah. We have a car. This is how you say that. Manuel and Leah's car. You don't say Manuel's and Leah's because it's our car. It's one car, right, that we own together, okay? Manuel and Leah's car is in the shop. That means the car we own together is in the shop. If you have separate ownership, if you have nouns that are owned by 2 people separately, make both names possessive. Manuel's and Leah's cars. See the S here, so you know that there's 2 different cars going on here, right? So that means his car and my car, both of our cars, the car he owns and the car I own, are both in the shop or wherever they are, okay? So that's the thing to remember about ownership. If it's joint, if it's one car owned between 2 people, you just put the apostrophe S after the last person in the list's name. If it's multiple objects of the same type, like multiple people owning cars and the word car has an S on it, then you make both of them possessive, okay? That is all I have today on plural and possessive nouns. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you need more explanation. I know I feel like I'm saying, well, here's the rule, but not, and here's the rule, but not. But welcome to English, okay? We're going to work on all this together. Remember, your greatest help with business writing and all kind of writing now is that most of our software has built-in warnings. If you see that red line, you know you've done something wrong, right? So let's all just work together and get this done. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.